they'll put I can't remember how they put it, but they put something like Kraft American slices or something. They don't put cheese. If you look on
ice
the
cream, same way.
Ice cream's the same way. They don't put ice cream. And if it don't say it, that means it's probably not.
Let me ask you this.
Butter's the same way.
Have you ever read the back of a Parmesan cheese? You know, like you shake on your pizza. Have you ever looked at that?
I've never, no.
You know what are the big ingredients in it? Sawdust.
Sawdust.
And it says sawdust on the back of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sawdust.
Well, salt.
To keep it separated, to
Yeah.
keep the cheese together.
Yeah.
They put wood, sawdust, in the Parmesan cheese.
Well, your iodized salt,
Right,
is mostly sand.
There's a salt that this health guy I've been watching on TikTok. I get most of my medical information from TikTok. My doctor wrote that in my report. She said, anyway, but there's another kind of salt, and I can't remember what it was, but it was expensive. I looked at it on Amazon, and he said,
Celtic
no,
sea salt.
No, it's a different kind. Bodja or something. It's a real nice salt, but it's like $19 for the little thing of it. So I said, well, my health ain't worth that much. I ain't putting $19 in it. But I mean, you know, there's stuff when it comes to your health to really look at it and appreciate it and think about it. Well, we talked about money, which was important, okay? Principles. If we talk about a core principle that you have, that you feel like keeps you steady. Now I'm not talking about when we talk about the Bible and religious and praise Jesus. I'm not talking about that. The core principle when you look inside of you and say, all right, here's some things that I hold steadfast to that keep me solid.
You're asking some tough questions. You know, all my life, I guess one of my very core principles is I always try to treat everybody how I want to be treated. Mm-hmm. I don't treat anybody different. I don't care if you pull up in a Lamborghini or you pull up in a Pinto. I treat everybody sort of the same. Mm-hmm. That's one of my things. I've always been that way because I want people to treat me good too. So you know, that's one of my values I've always kept. Another value I've always kept is to try to stay out of people's business, not be so daggone nosy.
Yeah.
What's
a big one, ain't it? That's a big one.
Nosy.
I've always said that.
Yeah.
I've always said the more your business you mind, the more your business you get done.
Yeah.
Keep your nose out of everybody's business.
It's, you know, I just don't, and people want their business out there a lot here too. Yeah. Right? It seems like they announce everything, you know.
I see people say some things sometimes. They'll put some things on Facebook, and I'm thinking, whoo, I wouldn't have wrote that down.
I know. I'm thinking, what are you doing?
Anytime somebody says, I'm this but,
you
know it's following with something that's going to be pretty rough. They shouldn't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you look at a core principle, you want to treat people like you want to be treated.
Right. And keep my nose out of everybody else's business.
Keep your nose out of everybody's business. That's the two big things to do.
Yeah.
You know, I really believe that. And I think, I've always thought if you can believe the best from people instead of waiting to hear the worst, you know, if you can just try to look for the good. Janice tells me I'll make an excuse for Charles Manson. She said, you're awful. She said, yeah, because I'll make excuses for people, you know. And
I don't think there's any good in him. I'm sorry, John. I can't go that far with you.
Well, he had nice hair. But you know.
It's the eyes for me. It's the eyes.
But I think sometimes with people, if we can begin to look for the good and just try, and I'm not talking about, we don't have to make excuses for their ignorance.
No.
But I mean, you know, if we can slow down sometimes, and I've always thought if you could take your foot off people's throat and give them a breath.
Kindness goes a long way.
Yeah.
It really does.